Alright, we just wanted to hop on here and tell you guys a little bit about how we got started in the junk removal business. So we started late 2021. Officially, we didn't start operating until February 2022, but we basically fumbled around for a while trying to get all the paperwork together, like learning how to file an LLC. We didn't know a thing about business or anything, so we were watching YouTube videos, just trying to figure everything out.
It was like the 1st or 2nd of October, and we were just scrambling to figure out how to start online, because that's how you apply for an LLC, is you just go online and at your state's website or whatever. And I remember thinking that was the weirdest thing, because neither one of us had ever done that before, and I was so hesitant because it probably cost like $50 or something like that for the paperwork. And we finally did it. We came up with the name Wehaul, and then we took a little 3-month break. Not really, but at the time I was delivering food for DoorDash, so that was my primary source of income. So I just needed to get out of that.
And I was working full-time as a fire alarm electrician, and so basically when I would work would be when I wasn't doing that. So like after work we would book junk jobs, and kind of in that time he was also working with another guy in town, kind of like learning how the junk removal business worked.
So we bought a trailer in November. It was just a small utility trailer like this one right here. We bought that for $950 from a dealership near our hometown, or a home city that we live in. And you know, utility trailers, they don't tip or anything, but it was a start. It was better than nothing. And my dad actually let us use his half-ton pickup, his 98 or 99 Dodge Ram 1500. So that was essentially free. So we were thankful for that, very grateful for that. But our startup cost with the trailer was $950.
And during this time we were living in a 1-bedroom apartment. He was bunked up in the living room. We were just trying to figure everything out. We didn't know a single thing about business, just consuming a bunch of YouTube videos.
I'm gonna need a little bit of direction here. I think I took the wrong turn.
Just take a left. So the trailer sat in the apartment parking lot for a few months until we eventually partnered up with another friend and bought another house, so we actually had like a home base. So then once we moved there, we fast forward to early 2022, we started building our utility trailer in the yard, or building the walls. We'll link some photos right here for that, so you can see kind of what that looked like. And then the first weekend after we had our trailer built, there was a big snowstorm that came in, and I had put out some ads in local Facebook groups just advertising to do snow removal for basically extra cash, and I got bombarded with messages. So I was planning just to go out with the shovel, you know, I just didn't really know anything, didn't know better, whatever. I did one job with the shovel, or I probably did 5 jobs with a shovel, and realized that it wasn't the way to go. But then later that evening I invested in a snowblower for like $150 off Marketplace, and basically was busy that whole weekend just doing snow removal.
And I was gone that weekend, so then I came back and heard that he had tested the waters and some new revenue streams, and so then we got money eyes, kind of. And I don't know if we did any more snow removal after that. Did we have any more snowstorms?
I think that was was that the big year? Or was that 2020?
That was the next year, at least. So yeah, that was how we kind of paired snow removal with junk removal, because in the winter, junk removal, at least where we come from, it does slow down. So it's nice to pair it with snow removal. So because of that weekend where he did that, we kind of had that in the back of our minds, like, okay, this is plan B in the winter. We do this in the winter. And that eventually led us to our first job in February of 2022. It was a recliner in some guy's house, and we charged $45 to take that out of his house. And we were rocking with a $45 minimum for a few months at least, I know.
At the time, most of the jobs were coming from just posting in free garage sale groups in our area, and it was like getting relatively consistent. It wasn't crazy, and we were also way too cheap, but like that's how you start. Just do what you just figure it out along the way. So we were, I don't even think we had a method to like track our revenue or like how much we were spending.
Absolutely not.
Like we were just working
and we were just trying to figure it out as we went, kind of. The goal, so for me in February, I was still doing a little bit of DoorDash and Uber Eats. Uber Eats was better, it paid better, but it wasn't as busy. And he was still full-time doing electrical work. And so as soon as we had enough work, I think it was April, so 2 months later, I completely stopped with DoorDash, but he continued to do electrical work for quite a while.
Probably at least a year.
Yeah, so in that time, I didn't just completely stop DoorDash and live off of my junk removal revenue because I couldn't. So I was helping out another junk removal guy who, he started out with junk removal, but now he does dumpsters. But he kind of showed me the ropes and how to do junk removal, and very nice guy and very helpful, and he was a huge mentor to get me started and to help me out and kind of show me the ropes, I guess you could say. So he would pay me like $25 an hour to help out, just providing labor.
And then I was working full-time at that time, so then when he was done helping him, we would like go off on our own. So typically I got off at like 3 p.m. and we would work maybe till, I don't know, 5 or whatever. And then fast forward to, I would say early 2023, I think I went part-time at my job. I think I went like 3 days a week, and we were doing junk removal a couple days full-time a week. I had built out the website, kind of got things rolling on Google, and then I want to say we started dabbling in paid Facebook ads then. And then we really started getting the ball rolling. Jobs started coming in consistently. And then...
So he was doing electrical work. I was helping out this other guy. We were trying to get jobs to fill in the gaps, to start and grow our business. And I'll show a picture here of our revenue for the first 5 months, but it took us 5 months to hit our first 10K in revenue. And that was very exciting. I think it was July of 2022 that QuickBooks showed our first 10K in revenue. So like, he was working at a different job, so we would do weekends, and I remember there would be some Sundays when we would go out to work, and eventually I was like, all right, we can't do this. First of all, the landfill's closed on Sunday, and this is just too much, like doing Sundays and trying to do all the other days. And basically whenever someone threw a job at us, we would tackle it immediately. So it's kind of like we were always on call, and that's just how, honestly, that's kind of what it takes to start something like this. If you like want to be serious about quitting your 9-to-5 job, you have to do those things at first, but then you need to set boundaries fast. Like once you get traction, you need to set boundaries so then you can have a life and have a personal life. I remember we quickly found out that the utility trailer was not it for what we were doing. We burnt out very quick. We started burning out because we were double loading essentially everything, and of course our prices were way too low. So I remember we were able to rent, so I was helping this guy out with junk removal. We were renting his dump trailer because he was already dabbling in dumpsters. So he let us rent a 16-foot dump trailer to do some jobs, and we pulled that with a half-ton pickup that was 20 plus years old. So that was
the death of that truck.
That was probably the death of that truck. So that was like 2 months later.
And then in April, Yeah, April of 2022, we bought our first dump trailer. We financed it to the bank. We paid $7,300, I think.
73 or 7,500, I don't remember.
And then we basically focused on just paying that down super quickly. I think we had it paid off by the end of the year. But yeah, that dump trailer was a game changer. And then once his dad's truck kind of went to crap, we were able to we found a deal on 1998 F-250. We'll attach a picture of that here. And then we still have that truck. We bought it with like right around 90,000 miles, and it was super clean. I think we paid 12.
Yeah, we paid 12 for it.
12,000.
And that was a month after we got that dump trailer. So there was a time in there where we were kind of gambling every day, pulling a dump trailer with a half-ton pickup.
And that's how we started our junk removal company from nothing.
Yeah.
It obviously didn't happen overnight. It took a lot of hustle, hard work, and learning and testing different things, as well as trying to be more efficient in our work. But 3.5 years in, we're starting to figure things out. Things are running a lot more smoothly. If you're thinking about starting your own business,
do it now. Start now.
If you're thinking about starting your own business, whether it's junk removal or any other home service business, our biggest piece of advice would just be to start. Just watch YouTube videos on how to file your LLC. That's what we did. That's honestly the easiest part. Once you have your toes in the water and you start just diving in and figuring things out, you just pick up on things and it becomes easier as you go. Just stay consistent in your actions in business.
Consistency is definitely key. You chip away little by little, every day, every week. Before you know it, 3 years in, you have something that's running a lot smoother than it was the first 6 months.
And several times over the last couple of years, we've come upon times where it was looking pretty bleak and we didn't think we were gonna figure it out, but we always do. You just kind of have to zoom out, look at the bigger picture, and realize that one bad week or a few bad weeks don't define the whole project, as long as you keep pushing and doing the thing that led you there. That's all you got to do.
And when you face hardship, instead of giving up and saying, all right, well, I tried at least, you should try to figure out and be creative. Okay, how can we get out of this? How can we solve the problem? How can we come out on top?
That's right. The only way to fail is giving up. Hopefully this video gave you some motivation to start your own service business, whether it be junk removal or any other business. If it did, hit the like button, subscribe. Peace.